In this very spontaneous video of mine, I want to talk about shifting timelines and with the focus on shifting our physical appearance, or you could say we take that as an example. However, you can actually apply this to everything, manifesting a specific person, your job, or whatever it is. Before we talk about the shifting of physical experience, I want to talk about shifting timelines a little bit more in general. So what happens is that we do live in a multiverse and everything already happened. It's like the radio stations or the radio signals. One radio station is broadcasting, pop music, another one is broadcasting country, another one is broadcasting rock, and all of that is happening simultaneously. You can decide which frequency, which station you tune into. And the same thing happens with our so-called 3D reality. Question whether we are free or strictly determined used to drive me crazy before I learned about the multiverse and timelines, because when I got into physics, not at the university, it was just something I did. I'm not a physicist, so I'm not really good at physics. It was just a documentary I saw about time, and it basically explained time already. Well, there is no time. We just perceive time. And it had this little example of one twin going to space and the other one staying here, and other examples to explain that time, basically the way we experience, is an illusion. But if everything already has happened, then that would mean that we are strictly determined, right? How can we make any decisions if it already happened? But then, as my job as a psychic, I could often tell that future can change. If we change our mindset, if we change our reactions, then what was predicted will not come true. Otherwise, if you don't change anything, it will happen just as predicted. So this was really driving me crazy. Like, how can we be free and determined at the same time? Especially if everything already happened. So do we only have the illusion of free time or not? But then when I learned about timelines, that made completely sense. So imagine this. Everything was already created. As Neville Goddard said as well, creation is finished. But in every multiverse, in every parallel universe, it was created a teeny tiny bit different. We constantly shift between those universes. And what this video basically is about, it's a theory of mine, basically was also a download from Spirit, is that when we shift timelines, it is not like the movie, like a portal, a gate opens and we switch into the other timeline. No, I believe it is basically our soul, our stream of consciousness. Our consciousness is shifting into another body. It's like our bodies already exist multiple times in this multiverse. One thing that came to me is basically eyes. What do I mean by that? Maybe you know somebody, or you have experienced that yourself, that sometimes your eye color changes a teeny tiny bit. It does happen with me. I do have gray blue eyes. In German we say blue-gray, gray blue eyes, and a little bit of green around the pupil. I hope that's how you call it, the black dot in the middle. And on some days my eyes would be darker, and other days they would be brighter. On some days they would be a little bit more gray, and others they would be a little bit more blue. And my brothers are similar. They have very similar eyes, just a little bit more green in them. And also on some days they would be more like this, and other days they would be more like that. And what just came to me is that it's basically not our eyes that are changing. It is us shifting into a parallel reality, into another body, because something within us changed. And it could be the smallest thing. Not every shift is like a big thing. Sometimes it's just a tiny thing, like you are in a good mood or you are in a bad mood. Whatever mood you are in, of course, kind of determines the day you're having, because you attract. You could even say psychologically, when you are in a good mood, you smile more. People around you smile more because they react on the energy, the vibration you send out. Everybody likes to be around the happy person. People don't like to be around the person that is pulling everyone down. So you have a different experience just based on the mood of your day. So we do shift into parallel realities. You could have been in a good day, because when you wake up and you notice, oh, I'm not in a good day, well, you could go ahead with that. Or you could say, no, what can I do today to brighten my mood? Put on my favorite song, meditate a little. Already there is a choice between, what you can do in order to stay in that not so good mood or to shift. Just by that tiny little thing happening in your consciousness, you either stay on the timeline with the bad mood or you shift into another one, and you will have a different experience. And it could just be tiny things because it's not a very extraordinary day. But of course, if there would be a big decision happening that day, it could also determine how that is playing out. Are you in a happy mood, and that is why you expect good thing, you get the right bus, and then something amazing is happening because you meet somebody who's changing your life, or you don't get the bus, these little situations. However, I always tell my clients, don't worry about it, because just because you have a bad mood and you were supposed to meet your person on that specific day on that bus, doesn't mean that you're not meeting them again. I always tell my clients, well, if you were supposed to meet your person on Thursday in the bus and you don't take that bus, then you will run into them in the grocery store on Sunday. Spirit is going to make it happen if it's meant to be. It's just in another timeline, there's a little bit of different circumstances how this is going to play out. However, it will play out. So what's happening is, when we want to manifest anything, it could be your happy relationship, it could be a change of physical experience, then what you have to do is you change your mindset, you change your assumptions about something. In that moment, when you already have a desire, as Neville Goddard said, that automatically means that you can have it. You only get heart desires. I'm talking about heart desires. You may have the desire to grow wings and learn to fly tomorrow. I've never seen that happen. I wish that could happen to me. I love flying. I love heights. I'm not a water person. I'm an air person. Do I want to say this is absolutely impossible? Based on science right now, it is. Based on my experience right now, it is. But who knows what's happening in a parallel universe, right? I don't know. Is anything ever impossible? I don't know. But, from our human perception, that would not be possible. Let's just say that. However, if you have a heart's desire, like, I love that person that I've met and I want to be with them, or I want to have that specific career or that dream house or that dream car, whatever it is, you can only get that desire if a version of you already has that in a parallel universe. Because the theory I have, or the image, I don't want to say theory, I want to say image I have, is kind of like a Kraken, a dimensional being that has its arms or tentacles, however you want to call them, in different dimensions. Let's say you are a soul, okay, and a stream of consciousness, and just a tiny part of you is in your body. It's not like you are a physical being and you have a soul, because your soul doesn't end with your body. You have an aura, you have energies around you, and just a tiny fragment of your existence is within that body. We call it also soul, like a stream of consciousness, so your consciousness resides in that body. However, your soul has, like those tentacles, you could say, in several different parallel universes, like an infinite number, you could say. So a bit more than Kraken has arms, right? 8 or infinite, it's just a slight difference. So there is this universe where your eyes are a little bit more gray, in my example, and then there's this universe where they're a little bit more blue. And of course, it's not just one universe. Let's say there is this universe where I never get to be with my specific person. In some of these, because again, we're talking about infinite possibilities, so just to make it easier, let's say there's one where I don't get to be with him and one where I get to be with him. And that one where I don't get to be with him, my eyes may be a little bit more gray, and in the one where I get to be with him, they're a little bit more blue. So when you try to manifest whatever your specific outcome is, you may find that small details changed. It might be tiny things. That eye color thing, it's just one tiny thing, because that is something that can happen with many people, that the eye color is slightly different. Even with brown eyes, sometimes they're a little bit more dark, sometimes they're a little bit more light, and it has nothing to do with sun shining or not. We're talking about the light setting is exactly the same, and still eye color may be a little bit different. That's because it's not their eyes that changed, but the reality changed. You sometimes may find tiny details that hint at you shifted into a parallel reality. That by itself doesn't say anything about is it a good one or a bad one. I mean, I haven't figured out, my eyes today are a little bit more light, sometimes they're a little bit more dark. What does that mean? Does that mean good or bad? It's just something we notice sometimes, right? So this can also mean that if you want to create physical change and you have your image of changing your eye color, maybe to a completely different eye color. Let's say I would want my eyes to be brown, and I could only have that desire if in this parallel universe there is a version of me that has brown eyes. Why? Because you may have those genes within you as well. You may have some ancestor that has brown eyes, and you carry that gene of brown eyes within you, and in a parallel universe that gene was the dominant one and you have brown eyes. So you can manifest, you only would have the desire to manifest something if it already exists in this multiverse. And then you, of course, can manifest having that specific eye color. And you would probably not wake up one day and your eye color is off. I would assume that when you shift, the new color would gradually just increase until you have that desired outcome. Well, maybe sometimes we shift and there is a big change. So I think it may be absolutely possible to wake up the next day in a reality with a different eye color. It is something I noticed on my twin flame journey as well, that there has been some kind of body morphing. It was nothing that I did intentionally, but sometimes I looked in the mirror and thought, there is some features where we kind of look alike, and I had never noticed that before. Or shape of hands change, for example. That is something I have noticed on my journey. It could either be you shift into a different reality, and in that different reality you do have slightly different eyes, or whatever is the difference. You weigh a little bit more, you weigh a little bit less, you have better skin, your skin is not as good. There may be some changes when it comes to that. You are slimmer or thicker, whatever it is. But if you can imagine yourself being slimmer, then again, only because that reality exists. However, it's not like an either or. I used the example earlier, there's this parallel reality where I have gray eyes and I'm not with my person, and then there's the one where I have blue eyes or more blue eyes and I am with them. Of course, there's infinite reality, so you could manifest, I have gray eyes and I am still with my person. It's not either this or that. If you consciously manifest that, because you can manifest whatever you want. So if you would want to manifest your specific person and you have no preferences when it comes to your eye color or whatever the thing is, then it is something that could just happen by chance. You slid into this parallel reality that completely matches your assumptions about this person. But if you don't have any specific assumption about your eye color, then that is nothing you tell the universe okay, I want this to be exactly like that. But as soon as you would work on changing that as well, then since there is infinite realities, you could shift that as well. So mainly what I wanted to say is, when we shift into a different reality, it is my belief that we don't take our bodies into the other reality. There is already a body in that reality. And it might be exactly like your body is right now, to the T, exactly like that. But since there is infinite realities, it might be slightly different. Eye color may be a little bit different. Your skin may be a little bit clearer. Your weight may be a little bit different. Whatever it is. When we shift, we don't take our body with us. We shift into another one, which means that we have the ability to change. We can do the age reversing. That is something that Bruce Lipton, a biologist, look him up here on YouTube. It's pretty amazing. He also says that we can do age reversing by meditating. And he explains it when it comes to genes, the telomeres that shorten every time the cells, not the cell splits, the chromosome splits. Well, you could say the cell splits, yeah. We can reverse that, and by that we can do age reversing. Why? Because there is a parallel reality where whatever happened and you didn't age normally. One fact thing is, if you saw some of my videos, you may have heard me say, yeah, I'm going to be 40 September 1st, 2022. But most people don't think I look 40. And the thing is, I always looked younger than I was. And I always joked, yeah, when I'm 40, I'm still going to look like 25. And I always said that aging is not for me. Even before I knew about manifesting, I always said that. Even when I was 25, I said, well, when I'm 40, I'm still going to look like 25. Now I'm thinking like 40, what the hell? When I'm 50, I'm still looking like 25 without doing Botox or anything. So I manifested not really aging. I always said, no, aging is not for me. I don't want to age. I do have small things like some gray hairs. I do have that. I do have tiny wrinkles around my eyes, yes, but I don't age normally. And I now think I absolutely manifested that. And fun fact is, this week I went to the movies with my brother. We saw Bullet Train. And my brother, he's a lot younger than me. He is 21 now, but he also looks a bit younger than he actually is. And they actually asked us, how old are you guys? Because I don't know if this movie is for 16 or 18. But they didn't just ask him. They asked, how old are you guys? And I was like, seriously, how old do you think I am? I'm like 40. Like in less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be 40. And I don't think that they thought I was 18. But anyway, so we do have the ability to manifest a change in our body, not because our body changes, like there is no morphing when it comes to this body, this vessel you have. Your consciousness slides into a different reality and it is a different body. And again, it could be exactly like the one you have right now. It might be a little bit different, or it might be very different. However, I believe if it's very different, again, yes, I do think in some cases you could wake up and your body just is completely different. You've lost whatever weight, or you gained a lot of weight, or, overnight. But I think most likely it would be you shift from one reality. Let's say when we talk about weight loss, and sorry guys, I'm not really good at pounds. Let's say, I don't know, you weigh 150 pounds and you most likely, and you want to weigh 120, I don't think you would wake up from 150 to 120. A couple of days later, it would be 149. A couple of days later, it would be 148. I think because in one reality, it is 149, another one it is 148, another one is 147. So I think you slide through the parallel universes to eventually get to the one that has the desired 120 pounds. I don't think it is just you just wake up all of a sudden. I think you slowly shift into that stage. However, I believe if you have assumptions about it can go fast, then it doesn't have to be like the rate of normal weight loss. Maybe it can be a little bit bigger or faster. However, that is something you have to assume. It's the law of assumption. You make the rules. So there's this other thing I would like to point out. I was talking about physical changes as in like losing weight, changing your eye color. But I don't want to leave out that of course can also be when it comes to health. In one timeline, you don't feel that well. And in another one, you can quickly overcome something. And that is something that can lead to those sudden improvements, those miracles where people thought, okay, they're not going to survive whatever disease they may have, stage 4 cancer, whatever. And then they did, and it is all of a sudden gone. Why? Because that person left that body behind and switched into another body where that disease never existed. I believe instant healing is absolutely possible. I actually do have a video on that where I talk about, and I think it's very, 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 very interesting. I'm sorry, I forgot the right term for it. It used to be multiple personality disorder. It has a new term now. But I do have a video on that to me is absolute proof that we can heal pretty much any disease instantly. Check it out, it's one of my earlier videos. So when we shift to another reality, it can absolutely also cure different diseases. This is why I believe that physical change is absolutely possible, because you don't change your body, you shift into another body, your stream of consciousness that is connected to, again, I have the image of the Kraken, you know, your soul would be the whole thing, the body of the Kraken, and then there's just those tiny arms, or maybe you could say like a jellyfish or whatever it is, in different realities, and you can shift your consciousness from one to the other, because there is this, the head of the Kraken or whatever it is, that is governing all of it. That is your true self, your higher self, and that tiny part of you experience or you see as real is just really that tiny part of you. I hope it made sense. If it did and you want to learn more, just write it in the comments. If you have more questions, then I will make another video on that, hopefully explaining it better. If you want personal coaching, reach out. I am still giving coaching. I don't know for how much longer. Probably this year I will still do coaching. I don't know how much next year, because I'm trying to get more into creating seminars for you guys. However, you can reach out, and I do see you in another video or in a personal coaching. And well, till then, I wish you all the best now. Bye bye.